Hey there, hi there, ho there, Andrew here, celebrating all things dad with part 2 of 2 with the Top Fathers of Horror, Antagonist edition. And if you haven't seen the first part of this, that would be Top Fathers of Horror, Protagonist edition. And if you haven't seen the Mother's Day special, where I do the same thing for moms, make sure that you check out at the end of the video after the credits. I will be putting 2 links for you there. Now, before I get into the list, I wanted to go ahead and share with you on how I came up with the list in the previous video, because I had some suggestions for top dads, and they were really good suggestions. I'm going to share a couple of them. One of them was from Dr. Jimmy, and he mentioned that Chief Brody from Jaws should be number 1 for the Top Fathers of Horror in the Protagonist category. And I have to say, as much as I hardly ever disagree with the good doctor, especially something as much as I hold dear like Jaws, I really have to say that I didn't see Chief Brody as a father in this movie. Yeah, he was a father, but his role was not really a father. His role was more of the chief of police of Amity. So the true motivations wasn't dad-related, it was more police-related in that. And another suggestion that I had was David Drayton from The Mist. Again, awesome character, awesome movie. The reason why he didn't make the list on it was the fact that all the ones that were in my top 5 really took the big bad, the weight of the big bad on their shoulders. Whether they got possessed or they had to face the big bad alone at some point. David Drayton, as much as I love the character, and he definitely was a father in the movie, he was kind of part of the mix. There were a lot of characters there, so he really wasn't the sole protagonist of the film. And with that, you can now understand how I'm going to go ahead and grade the antagonist. First off, they have to be doing something bad. I mean, in the film, they are the antagonist. Whether they see them doing something bad or not is a whole nother story, but they also have to be in a patriarchal role in the film. And lastly, it has to be horror-related, not things like sci-fi, so yeah, sorry about that. You didn't make the cut. So, let's begin. And we start with number 5, Daddy from The People Under the Stairs. Okay, I must admit, I do have a soft spot for this movie, and it only makes sense that Daddy comes in at number 5 on my list, since Mommy came in number 5 on the other list for the mothers. And like I said in that video, Mommy was the brains of the operation, but there is no doubt that Daddy is the more deadlier and probably the more psychologically trigger-happy of the two. Plus, Daddy wore gimp outfits way before they were cool. To be honest, if I had a guy in a gimp outfit chasing me with a shotgun, I'd probably lose it too. Everett McGill, who played Daddy, must have had fun in this 1991 horror flick. As you can see, he just chews up the scenery in every shot. And always the strict disciplinarian. If you don't follow Daddy's rules, off you go under the stairs. And judging by how many kids live under the stairs, there had to have been a lot of rules broken. Number 4, Dad Meeks from Frailty. Dad Meeks, the God's Hand serial killer, is played by Bill Paxton in the 2001 film Frailty, and the story focuses on Matthew McConaughey's character, who is telling Powers Booth's FBI agent that his brother has taken up the God's Hand serial killer mantle from their father, and enlightening the audience on why Dad Meeks did what he did. Dad Meeks, explaining his modus operandi to his sons, says that he has been visited by an angel and has been charged with the task from God to destroy demons that are disguised as human beings. So, how does he take out these demons? With a gift from God, an axe with the name Otis on it. This is a great movie, and it just happens to be Bill Paxton's directorial debut. And the question is laid out in the movie, is Dad Meeks really a messenger or a murderer? Number 3, Nick Lamley from The Parents. Nick Lamley is played by Randy Quaid in the most delightfully fun 1989 film Parents, which is placed in mid-1950s suburbia. Side note, Nick Lamley's last name alludes to Carl Lamley Jr., who happens to be the producer of Frankenstein, Dracula, The Mummy, The Invisible Man, all those old 1930 black and white horror movies. And that's quite the pedigree. Nick works for a company named Toxico in the division of human testing, and his son, who has an extremely overactive imagination, suspects that the parents are cannibals. Could it be the fact that the Lamleys always have top choice cuts in the refrigerator? Or maybe, just maybe, it's the fact that they continue to have leftovers of an original dish that was never served. Number 2, Jerry Blake from the Stepfather franchise. Jerry Blake, aka Jerry Blake / Henry Morrison / Bill Hodgkins / Gene F. Clifford / Keith Grant are all the names of Jerry Blake in Stepfather 1, 2, and 3. And he's played by Terry Quinn in Stepfather 1 and 2, and Robert Reitman plays him in the third movie, but it was also remade where Dylan Walsh plays the role of the stepfather, but his name is Grady Edwards and David Harris. And I'm lost, and I just wrote all that stuff down, and I still don't even know what I'm saying. So we're just going to go ahead and focus on the name Jerry Blake to keep things simple here. Jerry marries widows and divorcees that have children in search for the perfect family. However, as soon as the new family starts to show signs of not being the standard that Jerry wants, he decides to go ahead and kill them and start all over again. And after killing everybody, he alters his appearance, creates a new identity, and then moves to another city to start all over again. I mean, if first you don't succeed, try again. I never saw the 2009 remake, even though I do like the actor Dylan Walsh, but I have to say that Terry Quinn's take on Jerry Blake in the first 2 movies is awesome. He has the right amount of obsessive-compulsive mixed with the methodical and homicidal tendencies. The third movie I like for completely different reasons, really. The wife-to-be's name is Christine Davis, and she has a son named Andy, which is a pretty cool name if you ask me. And Andy's biological dad's name is Steve, which just happened to be the name of my father. Now, before I get into the number 1 spot, I have to go ahead and give a couple of honorable mentions. The first one is Grandpa Sawyer from the Texas Chainsaw Massacre, who just didn't make the cut because even though he, by far, is the most highly esteemed family member in the Sawyer family, he really just doesn't do much. The second one is Chucky from The Seed of Chucky, and obviously Charles Lee Ray, aka Chucky, is quite the killer and antagonist, but as far as dad goes, he's only been a dad in 1 movie, and he was in 7 movies. Well, there's going to be 7 movies. Filming ended in February of the 7th movie, so that should be released somewhere in the fall, I would think. But at any rate, you can't say that there was a lot of focus on him being a dad, so that is why he was axed. This leads to the number 1 spot, Jack Torrance from The Shining. Well, this isn't that much of a shock since you've seen the thumbnail for the video, but what can really be said about Jack Torrance that hasn't been said already? He's a man that goes completely insane, and he tries to kill his family. But why? Is it the haunted building that he's working at, the Overlook Hotel? Or is it the fact that he's an alcoholic? Or maybe it's the fact that he has a history of being violent to his son, breaking his arm and all before the movie started. Or even, is it the fact that he's got a serious dose of cabin fever?
I got cabin fever! I've got it too! Cabin fever!
Whoa, what just happened there? Either way, Jack Torrance is played brilliantly by Jack Nicholson, and I don't even know if that's really fair to say, because I feel sometimes they just let Jack Nicholson be Jack Nicholson on set, and they were able to film the crazy that way. Seriously though, the thing that makes Jack Torrance number 1 is the way that Stanley Kubrick used his direction to adapt a novel back in 1980 of the same name penned by Stephen King. The eerie settings, the silent scenes, and the lingering shots made the slow slip into madness that Jack was having even more understandable. And I really love the conversations that Jack Torrance has with the ghosts Lloyd and Grady at 2 separate times, because they're very telling of Jack Torrance's mind at the time, whether he is trying to figure out something or he's just in a moment of, I really don't care right now. However, when a man wants to bash in his wife's brains and then kill his child and also take an axe to another man's chest, yeah, you can say that he flew over the cuckoo's nest. Oh, wait a minute, that's another movie. So anyone else that you think should be on the list, go ahead, leave a comment down below, and let's get the conversation going. And remember, like, comment, share, and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video.